Good morning. This is Philip Koerper. This is the Philip Koerper Show, episode 37, September 21st, 2018. I've got a really good show for you today. Going to talk about the Judge Kavanaugh nomination. Continues to have twists and turns and give you my analysis of what's going on there. I listened to a great podcast this morning on my run by Jody Moore. She has a podcast, Better Than Happy. She's also a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but anyhow, she offers really great insights. Highly recommend listening to her podcast. And she had a podcast today about truth. Wanted to discuss that a little bit. And then also had a listener out in Texas who sent me an article from Reason magazine, and saying she's having quite a debate there in her community on that issue, and I will give you my analysis on that. First of all, the Judge Kavanaugh hearing. Dr. Ford now. This is Friday. Charles Grassley said before at 10 a.m. He wanted to hear from Dr. Ford, and he wants her to testify on Monday. And with all kinds of, he's making it as easy for her as possible to try to let her tell her side of the story before the Judiciary Committee. And apparently now her lawyers are saying that she will speak before the committee. She can't do it on Monday. Of course not, of course. Doesn't give a reason for that, and doesn't want other lawyers to ask her any questions. And so this is the push and pull of the Senate, where the Republicans are trying to accommodate the minority, the Democrats on the committee, and yet we're trying to keep the government moving forward and not have obstruction. This is really being thrown, of course, as always, with our Congress into the court of public opinion. I can't help but think that Senator McConnell knows much more than we do. I know he's trying to get this nomination through before the midterm elections. He said his goal was to get it done by October 1st. And so, but if she doesn't speak on Monday before the committee, it'll be hard to confirm Brett Kavanaugh by the end of the week. So, of course, I'm a conservative. I'm a Republican. I think Brett Kavanaugh would be a good pick for the Supreme Court justice. When we were analyzing, when Donald Trump was going through which ones that he liked, he was not the top of my conservative pundit friends. He was not their top pick. As a matter of fact, he was really kind of down a little bit in the list of 4 or 5, I remember when we were haggling this out. And yet, I think he would be a good pick. Of course, so I want him to be nominated. Well, the people on the left, they don't want him to be nominated. He is a conservative. He probably does not see in the Constitution how he's probably going to be against the president. It's not really Roe v. Wade now that decides the abortion issue. It's a few rulings down the line from that. And so anyhow, he's probably going to look at the Constitution strictly and probably not see this right of privacy, this penumbras. He's probably going to rule on the Constitution really as it was written, as it was ratified. So abortion might not be this blanket legal in all 50 states, where each state, it would be thrown back to the states, and then the states would have to decide on abortion. So anyhow, this is going to go on. I'm hoping that Brett Kavanaugh will be nominated, and yet the Democrats probably have to be overjoyed that they do continue to put up roadblocks. And for Feinstein, Senator Dianne Feinstein, to do this 11th hour reveal of the Dr. Ford accusations, really it's not too fair to Brett Kavanaugh. And I think Americans will decide, does she really have a story here? And they also want to, Americans are basically fair. And so anyhow, we'll see how this plays out. It has been kind of back and forth with this, but this is politics. I mean, politics is rough and tumble. And unfortunately now, Supreme Court justices, it looks like the Senate is just going to decide, who's going to sit on that bench. Not so much the president will nominate, but the Senate, if your party doesn't have a majority in the Senate, good luck trying to get your justices through. So it's a lot more political here. The Senate has taken on this role. Before, they would pretty much just pass people through in the olden days. Well, those days are long gone, and so it's a big fight. I still don't think that Dr. Ford really has provided any clear and convincing evidence, credible evidence of this accusation, with her not even knowing what year this took place, how she got to and from this place. She doesn't even know where this place was. The one thing she does remember is that she only had one can of beer, and that it was Brett Kavanaugh and Mark Judge in the room with her at the time. So anyhow, it's really hard to prove not guilty with accusations like this. So we'll see what happens. I want to talk about truth. I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine a few months ago about truth, and he doesn't even believe in truth, which kind of caught me off guard. But yes, I know some people, excuse me, don't really believe in truth. I was looking at the definition of truth. The quality, state of being true, that which is true or in accordance with fact or reality, a fact or belief that is accepted as true. So this really kind of gets into this Better Than Happy Jody Moore episode that I just listened to about truth, and she's talking about thoughts and then versus basically, I think she said circumstances, but really things that like you could blood test me, like if I have hepatitis C or not. I mean, so that would be pretty factual thing that you could test me, like medically. Either I have this antibody or antigen or I don't. And so you can make tests like that, but even those tests sometimes are not 100% conclusive. And so I like her definition of these thoughts, and she basically talks about beliefs and thoughts, and she talked about her faith. She talked about believing in Jesus Christ. And she said, she goes, I believe in Jesus Christ, and so this is a thought that I have, okay? She says, I can't really prove this, but this is a thought that I have, and this thought brings good fruit, as the scriptures say, bring good fruit to her life, okay? It's an uplifting thought. It's something that makes her better. It makes her happier and more joyful. I really like that. And this is the same thing that I have. Like, we both believe that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the restored gospel of Jesus Christ, that it is the only true church of God placed on the earth in these latter days. Okay, bold statement, and this is a bold belief that we have. I can't prove this to anyone else. It's just something that these are thoughts that I have that I really believe in. And then I go and my eyes are, with this belief, my eyes will see God and His love and Jesus Christ in my life. I will see examples of that. I have eyes to see and ears to hear, as the scriptures say. It's like the internet. You can really go on the internet and Google or search anything, and you'll find something that will prove whatever you're talking about, even the most craziest things. It gets back to my fun example that I have with a friend who, she thinks she's an atheist. And so I asked her if she believed in aliens from another planet, and she said she did. And I asked her, do you believe that these aliens are more intelligent than us humans? And she said, yeah, that's possible, yeah. And I told her, well, that's my God. Okay, that is my God. Well, I'm using this example that she thinks my beliefs are just way out there and really unrealistic, and yet she believes in these aliens that exist, and she can't prove to me that they really exist or not. So I like this definition that Jody Moore gives, talking about thoughts and about truth, okay, and how we don't really have to judge or convince everyone else what we believe to be true. These thoughts that we have that are good thoughts, we believe are good thoughts that bear good fruit in our lives, that make us happy and joyful and more productive and loving and kind. She talks about giving the people the benefit of the doubt, and that can make us happy. I use the example if you're driving along and someone cuts you off. Okay, sometimes I've read that, and I had this thought that, well, they're probably in a bigger hurry than I am, or maybe they're rushing to the emergency room because their mom's in trouble, or something like that. I don't know. I don't know really what's going on with that person. But a nice thought like that, giving them the benefit of the doubt, tends to make me happier and make my day go by better. Not that that's really factual or not. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know. But that's the kind of judgment call that I'm going to make. And if you give someone the benefit of the doubt, then you do not have to judge them. You can kind of, and of course, this doesn't reflect. Kind of rambling here. This doesn't talk about if someone's convicted in a court of law or things like that. So I really like that. In John 8:31-32, then said Jesus to those Jews which believe on him, if you continue in my word, then you are my disciples indeed. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. I like this scripture. Christ is really actually, I think, talking about what Jody Moore is talking about here. And something that I really believe in is that Jesus Christ is encouraging people to follow him, okay, and to listen to his teachings and to follow his teachings, okay, and to be his disciples, okay, and then you'll know these truths, you'll have these beliefs, and these truths will make you free. These truths will make you happy. You won't be shackled down by sin. Jody Moore talks about the example. I thought it was a really good example. Suppose your kids are growing up and you want them to live the gospel of Jesus Christ and they're having premarital sex. Okay, this is something in my faith that we warn against. And we believe this is sin. We believe in the law of chastity. We believe that intimacy shall be saved for marriage and only expressed within the bonds of marriage between a man and a woman. And so that's what we believe in. Okay, why do we believe this? We believe this comes from God. Okay, this is truth that comes from God that I've embraced. Okay, this is a belief now that I have. I think this belief is a good belief. This is something that I choose to believe in, to hang on to, and to model in my life. But if my kids aren't living this belief, I mean, that's their life to live. We all sin. As she reminds us. And of course, we're all going to sin. We're all going to learn. It's always the story that I have of me as a little kid in the grocery store, putting my tongue on the freezer part in the grocery store, and big time. And my tongue just stuck. And I panicked and I jerked my head back and tore my tongue right off from the freezer thing. Oh, that hurt. And you know what? I've never done that again. That was really dumb. And I'll never do that again. The pain that I felt. And we all do suffer in this life. But we learn. And we learn what not to do. That doesn't make me so happy. I don't do that anymore. I don't stick my tongue on freezer things on purpose. So I like this concept of having these thoughts. And then, well, of course, we can have thoughts that are bad thoughts or thoughts that are not productive. And then we can just set those aside or just chew on these thoughts a little bit. And as Tony Overbay says on his podcast, we can just put those thoughts on a little leaf and float them down the river. Just get rid of those thoughts. So anyhow, our thoughts our life is amazing. We're constantly thinking. I'm sorry I'm rambling a little bit here, but I just thought this was a really neat concept. And I just wanted to share that with you and encourage you to listen to her podcast. She's a lot more organized in her thoughts than I am. But I love having faith, and actually I've been trying to share my faith with my friends. I'm always trying to do that. It's like a delicious cup of orange juice that I want to share with them. But it's something that I have to respect their choices and what they want to choose in their life. Okay, great. I wanted to just move on to this question that I had from a Texas buddy of mine. And so this is, she sent me this article from Reason Magazine. Okay, I used to be a staunch libertarian. Okay, really, Cato Institute, Reason Magazine's voting for libertarian candidates. I gave that up because I felt like I wasn't getting what I wanted. The libertarians are not governing in this country, in the United States. It doesn't mean they don't have great ideas, because they do. Reason says free minds and free markets. Okay, so there's a lot about a libertarian lifestyle that I really love, and so I really kind of call myself, kind of a libertarian, a conservative libertarian, libertarian-leaning conservative, and so I've really enjoy a lot of the ideas that the libertarians foster. But this is really, I think, a setup job. And this is on their Hit and Run blog that I used to read daily, but I've kind of fallen away from this now, as I've really trying to get on the Republican team and chose the Republican Party, and really trying to, I think that's where the things that I really want, as far as small government, low taxes, less regulation, more job growth, a good immigration policy. I mean, really, Donald Trump is really embracing a lot of these things that I want, and I think are important for our government. So this is an article, and this is by Joe Sept, and the article leads off, 2 hours in jail for cop who killed Botham Jean, 2 nights for people protesting his death. Okay, and so anyhow, this is a story that actually talks about an event that happened earlier. Okay, so this is dated September 18th. So this is from 3 days ago. So this article talks about a killing of O'Shea Terry. So let me read this. It says, prior to Sunday's night NFL game, so this is in Dallas, between the Cowboys and the Giants, roughly 100 protesters gathered outside AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. They were protesting the recent deaths of Jean and of O'Shea Terry, who an Arlington officer killed as he was fleeing a traffic stop. Okay, so I missed this O'Shea Terry thing. And the reason why I think I missed this is that the left did not pick up on this story of O'Shea Terry's death. So this is we have a body cam video of what happened here. O'Shea Terry was pulled over, and then there was a passenger in an SUV, and they were pulled over for not having current registration. Okay, so they're breaking the law. No, and then officers smelled marijuana. And then another officer is up on the passenger side on the SUV. Then the guys in the car, apparently O'Shea Terry was driving. They put their tinted windows up on the SUV, with the officer kind of on the side of the SUV, kind of standing, I think, on the little running board thing there. And so O'Shea Terry, they roll up the windows, both windows go up. So O'Shea Terry, the driver, is controlling the windows. But he says, we're just going to go. And so, excuse me, O'Shea Terry rolls the windows up on the SUV and then just starts driving off, leaving. And the officer's saying, no, no, stop, stop, stop. And so the officer's got his hand caught in the window going up. And then they just start driving off with the officer kind of dragging, hanging on the side of the car. Okay. And then the officer shoots O'Shea Terry. I don't know if the passenger was hit also. Okay. So unbelievable. Okay. And then I guess O'Shea Terry passed away. And then there was a bunch of marijuana in the car, a gun, all these other things. You cannot just run away from the police. Okay, you can't. If you run away from the police, and these guys are high on marijuana, if they just drive off and run into a bunch of school bus and kill a bunch of kids, I mean, you can see the responsibility that the police have. We want law and order. Okay, you don't run away from the police. You don't drive away from the police. Okay, even his lawyer says that O'Shea Terry did a lot of things wrong, but the police officer shouldn't have shot him. I mean, lots of second guessing going on here. We give our police force a lot of leeway because they're going to have to make these split decisions, and then they have to make these decisions almost like a judge is allowing them to make all these decisions spontaneous like this, and then we bring them into a court of the law, and then you're convicted of a crime or released if there is no evidence of a crime. So anyhow, O'Shea Terry, I mean, God, good grief. I mean, this is why this was a national protest here, is because it looks to me from what I just saw that the Arlington officer, really had not much choice what to do and could have saved many lives from these guys driving either intoxicated on marijuana or whatever. Okay, and so then the other story that's mentioned here is that the killing of Botham Jean. So Botham Jean apparently was, I don't know if he was in his own apartment or not, but what happened here is a police officer, she came home from work and she in this apartment complex and thought she was going into her apartment, but apparently she got the floors mixed up. She went into someone else's apartment. She sees this guy in her apartment, and this is Botham Jean, and she thinks that, oh my heavens, this guy's in my apartment, so she shoots and kills him. Okay, and so this article says that they're making a big deal about she was only 2 hours in jail. Okay, she's only 2 hours in jail because she is not a flight risk. Okay, she paid her $300,000 worth of bond. Okay, she is not a flight risk. Okay, so she doesn't have to be in jail. And then this story made a big deal that the people protesting his death, okay, well, they were blocking the streets. Okay, that's a Class B misdemeanor. Okay, this is America. We have rules. Okay, you don't just block streets. Okay, and so you're a hazard. People can hit you. Okay, this is against the law. Okay, this is not just peaceful protesting. Okay, these people are blocking the streets. Okay, blocking traffic, locking arms. Okay, that's against the law. This is not a peaceful protest organized. No, they're breaking the law, and so they were put in jail for breaking the law. But then they had to transfer them to another jurisdiction or something like that. There was some technicality somewhere in this article, and so instead of 1 night in jail, they had to sit in 2 nights in jail. Okay, which really wasn't technically the rules, but that's how it worked out. And so that was almost more of incidental thing than part of the law. I can't find it in the article why they they had to be transferred to Tarrant County Jail and appear before a judge. Okay, so each of the protests, had been transferred by Monday night, though they were still detained as Tuesday morning. Okay, there's Arlington Police Sergeant Christopher Cook blames the extended stay on the fact that the Arlington police don't have the authority to set bond for Class B or higher misdemeanors. Instead, the protesters had to be transferred. Okay, so that's why they spent 2 nights in jail. Okay, so this is apples and oranges. Okay, so this analogy, and for Reason Magazine to make a big deal about this analogy, like this officer is just getting, off scot-free, and these protesters really had to spend 2 nights in jail. That's just too much. Okay, so that wasn't really even the law. That was just because they had to be, the Arlington police could not process the misdemeanors. Okay, yes, we want our police force to be perfect. I know. Do police officers make mistakes? Of course they do. Do they get punished for their mistakes? Of course they do. Okay, are they biased? Are they just killing black people? I mean, what's happening in America? There is no evidence that the police are doing anything overtly wrong here. There is a Harvard study that looked into this, okay, about police bias, police brutality, okay? This is fake news. This is not happening as people say across the nation. This is a frustration with the Colin Kaepernick kneeling thing, and him kneeling. He's, I'm gonna kneel because I can't stand before a flag of a country that has black police brutality, something like that. Okay, that is what his whole protest. Of course, Colin Kaepernick, is free to protest. Of course, he can be disciplined if he protests at work, like I said before. But protesting, against the American flag for police brutality is just like, here we got apples and oranges again. That flag is giving him the freedom to protest. Okay, the government cannot censure Colin Kaepernick for protesting in a legal and a lawful fashion. Okay, his boss can if he's doing it on company time, which he chose to do back then. But you have the freedom to express yourself. I love this statement. I can't remember where it comes from. Is that I believe in your right for freedom to speech, and I will die to protect your right to express yourself in a lawful manner. I will. I mean, Americans will. We really believe in this. It's what makes this country so wonderful. And so for Colin Kaepernick to go off on all of this police brutality and to wear socks that depict policemen as pigs, okay, I really think he's wrong. Now, is he free to express that? Is the government going to punish him for that? No, the government won't punish him. But I can criticize him for that. And I can call him out on that. And I can call Nike out for supporting him. Okay, I think he's wrong. And I'd love to debate that with him. And studies have not proven that. Eric Holder went to Ferguson and didn't find anything wrong, even with that situation with Michael Brown. Okay, so the police are in a very difficult situation. We want law and order. Okay, and so I'm trying to answer those questions. I'm rambling again. This is an episode full of rambling, but I do, as you know, I do feel really strongly about that. I wanted to just conclude with the idea of searching for truth and good, and having an eye for what's uplifting and peaceful and loving. I really love the example and the belief that I have in Jesus Christ, because he's just my model of this of love and kindness. And as I follow him, I try to absorb some of that kindness and love and then try to share that with others. Please have a great day. This is the Philip Koerper Show. I'm Philip Koerper, copyright 2018.